I am very excited to sit and listen to this next session. We have 4 powerful women coming up to share their journey in Heltic. We heard and saw Isla yesterday talk about her retrofit program in the community. But we're going to have the whole team come up and share their whole experience. So I'd like to ask Isla and Astrid and Gwatis and Aaron to come up to the stage and share your story.
Yo. Haíữzaqv. Good morning. Çuzaqv. I'm grateful you all have come. Haíłzaqv Nation. We are Haíłzaqv, and my name is Çuzaqv. And if you're all open to it, I just want to ground our presentation in a little bit of breath work. So this is an invitation to just make yourself comfortable in your seat. Maybe you feel your Çuzaqv, your spine, straighten. Your Heltic raise up towards the lua. Just maybe rotating your shoulders. Just with that idea that there's going to be a lot of information coming towards us today. And I want you all to be open to take in what might feel good for you today. So in Haíłzaqv, we say Haíūt is to breathe in, and Haíūt is to breathe out. So egam agua Haíūt, 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 Haíūt. If it feels good, you could close your eyes for these next couple breaths. Haíūt, 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 Haíūt. Gayasecha. Get nasanai umbil. Get nasana Haíťu zaqv. I call on the ancestors and my family that have walked before us to be in this presentation with us, to share the message of the Haíłzaqv people with each one of you. A message that is close to each and every one of us on this stage, as well as the rest of our team. So I would just ask if our presentation could be brought up onto the screen. So this is Haíłzaqv territory, Bella Bella. Maybe you could raise your hand if you've ever heard of Bella Bella or the Haíłzaqv. That is amazing. That makes my heart feel so good. So a lot of people say Heltic, and that's the anglicized version. Either one is okay, as we're in the phase of reclaiming our language. And so we're located on the central coast of what's now referred to as British Columbia. We are a ferry in 6 hours from Vancouver Island, or flying community only. So we're a remote community in what some people refer to as the heart of the Great Bear Rainforest. This is a place that we have been since we believe the time of creation. Science now proves that we've been in our place of the world for at least 14,500 years. For a little bit of context, this is older than the Egyptian pyramids, and definitely older than Canada. So at one point, we were 5 tribes. We were the Goquait, Eastait, Uwitlit, Uyalit, and Jejes. And at one point, we were tribal groups of tens of thousands of people. And when settlers came in the 1830s, we were decimated to just over 300 people. And we make the Haíłzaqv. We're very proud to be up here representing the Haíłzaqv Nation. These coppers are ťzaqv. They show the power of who we are, and they mark our homelands. And this is our Gogwayos Haíłzaqv, the house of the Haíłzaqv, our gliadzi, where our ceremonies take place. And as we're here to talk to you about what we're doing as a nation of reclaiming our energy sovereignty, we're working with our whole community, as in each sector, we're reclaiming who we are as Haíłzaqv people. We've been here for a very long time, and we have a history that is in alignment with our ťzaqv, our earth. And what we're doing with our plan is egila kansnalayoch, protecting our world. This is, for a little bit of context, the community of Bella Bella, where the Haíłzaqv people now live. And so we have a population of about 1,600 people that live in this village, and we are a fishing community. But we have on and off reserve members, 2,400, but we have a lot of Haíłzaqv members who also are members but aren't registered in that direct way, but we still claim them as Haíłzaqv people, because we do believe we're stronger the more Haíłzaqv that we have. And so this is our beautiful team. This is the Haíłzaqv Climate Action Team of Waglesla, Bella Bella. And we have 4 of our 7 members here today. We have Leona Humchet, who sends her regrets. She's our climate action lead, and she had to be with her father. But what I'm really particularly proud to be a part of this team is because I do believe it starts with individuals who really care. And I can proudly say that this team creates a brave, safe space to be who we are as Haíłzaqv, and also to get work done in a way that cares for the human being. So this is our amazing team, and you could read our titles. We have, each one of these people are going to introduce themselves when they speak. That's up on stage. And now I'm just going to pass it over to Isla, who is going to speak to you about how our Haíłzaqv values really are at the root of this plan.
My English name is Isla Brown. My traditional name is ťzaqv. We always ground ourselves in language first, because the primacy of our language connects us to our land, to our place. We're involved in several projects. The Indigenous Off-Diesel Initiative, we're one of those communities. We also are part of we have a Heltic Climate Action Coordinator, Leona, through Coast Funds, and our community. We had some things going for us, and then we built this beautiful team out from those 2 initiatives. And we said so our first thing that we had to do is we had to make a plan. What are we going to do about the biggest challenge that is facing us? So we started to talk to our people. That's where we always start. To talk together, to come to consensus. And so the very first question that we asked our people, what Haíłzaqv values relate to climate change? And it turns out it's all of them. But what we actually started hearing in our first sessions was an immense amount of climate grief. For our salmon, for our children, one of our deepest values is for our future generations. Everything you do must be informed for our future generations. You know, one of our most sacred laws is don't take too much. Take only what you need. And what became really apparent is our burning of fossil fuels to heat our homes for all of these modern day conveniences was out of alignment with our values as Celtic people. And so we started having these beautiful sessions, and it really became apparent because we were talking to our Ninawakla, our elders, at how vastly our Nala, our seasonal cycle, had changed because we are close to the land. The majority of the calories in our village come from the land still. And so we are deeply impacted as a place-based people by climate change now. And so the urgency to move forward was there from the very beginning, grounding ourselves in this value of not taking too much, of for our future generations. And also this deep responsibility to place allowed us to, it became the foundation of our plan moving forward, and it grounded us in who we were. And you're going to hear about how that really made our plan unique in a little bit. But I'm going to invite Astrid up here to talk about our language and how that, using our language, created an amount of community synergy that doesn't exist in other places.
Haíťzaqv Haíłzaqv. I come from the Roscoe Inlet Division. I'm also a woman of the Roscoe Inlet Division, and that's how I identify myself. My English name is Astrid, and I'm the Climate Action's youth intern, and I will be speaking on why our language is so important in not only our plan, but to our people. Our Haíłzaqv Foundation. Protecting our world. We are protecting our world. And as I share these phrases, I welcome you to think in your own mind what these phrases would mean to you and how we are all actively protecting our world, our Nala. The strength and power of our territories. How are we actively working to be active stewards of the land and protect our resources, as there has been many faces that have come into our community but not shown themselves in our community. They've come through our territory, and there's been many incidents like the Nathan East Stewart where there was an oil spill, and that makes me emotional because I harvest on the land. Many of our team members do too as well, and that is truly heartbreaking because we can't harvest in that area anymore, so we need to do better to protect our homelands. Our Haíłzaqv culture is tightly woven. It's interconnected in everything that we do. We are one, and we practice our ways of life as in a way of showing who we are as true Haíłzaqv people, and showing that we are proud of who we are and that we stand on this earth together, and we're making sure there will be a difference for the future generations. I'd like to acknowledge that each one of our climate action team members is actively working towards many revitalization projects. There's something I would like to highlight in this as well, because there's Michael Vague, who is not here, and he's currently working in a Buch program where he's working with the language for newly mothers who are going to be speaking language to their children, their sasam, their babies. And then I would like to highlight quickly that Isla Brown, she has actively worked in our community towards language revitalization, and she was a teacher at one point in our gg'oq'elas, our school. In Gatwas, I would like to share that as well, how she is actively working, and she did the 900-hour Haíłzaqv immersion program, and that is run through SFU. We get credits, and that's what I'm currently actively working on right now. And it's truly important for us to be doing this work because our language is our identity, and if we don't have our language, how are we going to share this plan with the world? Because it's so important to our tlaqis, our heart, because we need to remember who we are, and we need to inspire other people to remember their language and to walk on this earth proud of their indigenous tongue. And I would like to say that it's decolonizing our spaces, it's being inclusive and sharing that it's okay to be able to speak your language. One more thing I would like to share is that my father, my umpa, he asked me before I came up here, what comes to your mind when you think of climate action? And to me, that was strongly in my mind. It's justice for Indigenous people of this land, of Canada, in my words, at sometimes like KK Canada, you know? Like, it's not something that everyone is comfortable with hearing that, but this land was stolen from all Indigenous people of Canada, and they truly deserve the right justice, and this is what's going to be put into our plan. Çaqv.
I'm so proud of Astrid for being here and bringing voice to the Haíłzaqv youth. Çaqv, Astrid. And so next we're going to talk about our community engagement process. And I'm particularly proud of this because we had a voice of 1,000 Haíłzaqv people in our community energy plan. And that's pretty amazing considering the amount of people we actually have. And so some of the ways that we successfully engaged our community, you can see here, this is our Ç'nuwaqv. And so we had an online survey with Othello. And so one thing that's really beautiful, I'll flip to this slide first, is it shows the amount of synergy within our community. So when Othello worked with us, they're an online consensus-based platform. And so we had 12 climate action solutions that were brought forward in our visioning sessions. And what was really amazing was Othello brought back to us in their report that we were the most consensus-based community they've ever worked with. And so that means that there is major buy-in to this climate action plan, to this community energy plan, and that the community believes it. They're going to take ownership of it, that we have the voice of 1,000 Haíłzaqv people. I'll go back to this slide. And so we worked with people with where they were at. And so we also had printed surveys, so working with the Ç'nuwaqv one-on-one. We also had really great prizes. And we really grounded our whole process within ceremony. If you could raise your hand if you recently came to Bella Bella for the Haíłzaqv Climate Action Feast? So there's a few of you. So we invited our partners. So when we develop partnerships, we really want people to come and engage with the community. And we grounded the whole engagement in our place in the world and in our ceremonies. And so we were working in a pretty unique time. There was COVID. So we actually had online Zoom sessions and delivered turkey dinners door to door if you joined our Zoom session. And so 70 turkey dinner plates went out one night. And so we thought of creative ways, like how do we work around this current situation and just being really innovative. We also have an Instagram, a Facebook, a website, www.Heltic.climateaction.ca. We have a YouTube, and really trying to be as transparent as possible about our process so that whether communities on social media, or you can also on our website sign up for our newsletters that I'm really proud is in collaboration with the Heltic Tribal Council, which we now have 1,500 people signed up to receive these updates. So that's people willing and wanting to be engaged with not only climate action, but what's happening in our community. And I'm going to pass it on to Erin and let her introduce herself.
Yo, everyone. My name is Erin Stewart. I'm the Managing Director of Indigenous Clean Energy and a member of the Haíłzaqv Climate Action Team. I'm the only non-Haíłzaqv member of this team, and I just feel this overwhelming amount of gratitude to the team for welcoming me, continually to welcome me, and țaqv nuqv, which means I'm very grateful, ță for everything that you continue to do for me every single day, every week that we meet. I just love you all so dearly, and I just want to give a huge round of applause because ťuz, I don't think that you are an amazing speaker, but I don't think you gave yourself enough credit of all of the community engagement work. 1,000 surveys with 1,600 members, 1,000 surveys and clear consensus on clean energy. And so I would really like to give the team a standing ovation for that hard work because I have never seen that done anywhere in this country, and I've worked a lot of places. So please, everybody stand up. Thank you. Thank you so much. ță, everyone. So I'm going to talk a little bit about partnerships. So if anyone knows Leona Humchit, you know that you really can't say no to her. She's about 4'11", probably, generously listed at 4'11", with the biggest smile in the world. And when she asks you to do something, you do it. And so that's actually how I ended up on this team, on the Haíłzaqv Climate Action team, was just with Leona. And I've felt truly welcomed and extremely honored that I've been welcomed in with open arms. I want to talk a little bit about all of the partnerships that are involved with the Haíłzaqv Climate Action team. As being a partner with Haíłzaqv, it's a true partnership. It's not a one and done. It's something that you show up every week for, and they do too. And it's been very unique. It's been an incredibly unique experience. As part of the initial onboarding as partners, they asked all of their partners to go through cultural sensitivity training that was led by Pauline Waterfall, that really gave us an immersive, deep understanding of the community, something that I'll never truly understand as a non-member, but really felt and had a better, clearer understanding from me as somebody who was brought in on this project. And I think that the uniqueness of the community ways of bringing in partners and welcoming and feeling so honored is something that I know that I cherish. And I think anybody who came and is a partner with Haíłzaqv can feel that as well. Just actually recently in March, you can see there there was a community feast, 2-day session, as well as a community feast where we were celebrating the inaugural launch of the community energy plan. And just the amount of pride and overwhelming joy that this plan was coming to fruition and the implementation and what that's going to look like was incredible to be a part of. And the partners that involved with Haíłzaqv were also involved in that in many ways and gave their knowledge and shared very generously in terms of participating in that ceremony, but all the way along as well. Also, in terms of partnerships here, it's something that what we had as part of the partnership process is there was a number of people that came to the table and wanted to be involved in the community energy plan. And so one of the things that we asked partners to do was to write up a 2-page summary that described the project. What is going to be the environmental impact? What is the community impact? What are the employment opportunities? What's the total cost? And so really, this team here built the community energy plan, but there's also a number of partners that contributed to the steps that you'll see laid out in the plan. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Isla and Astrid to go over pieces of the plan. Thank you.
So yeah, Egila Kansnalayo. That is our plan, protecting our world. And our vision is really The Heltic, so when we look out into the future, this is where we want to be. The Haíłzaqv Nation is practicing clean energy sovereignty and resiliency by utilizing wind, sun, earth, and water. We will create a sustainable future in accordance with our Gwilas and Haíłzaqv worldview. And what that really means is it was very clear from the very beginning when we started talking about values that the community wanted to be using the gifts of the Creator to generate energy in Heltic homelands by Heltic people for Heltic people, as we had always done. And it was really beautiful to hear the elders talk about how we use the sun to dry our seaweed and for years, and how we use sails and the wind to help us move, and that we've always been using these gifts in different ways, and that we should still be using them now. And then our mission is through community guidance and data analysis. The Heltic Community Energy Plan outlines a pathway to clean energy sovereignty and resiliency. The Haíłzaqv Nation will create our own clean energy future to Acknowledgement, protect our world. And so that's how we're going to get there. It's like more technical, but that's what we're going to do in order to manifest and to create this future where we're living in accordance with our Gwilas, which are our most sacred laws, our ultimate laws, the laws of the land.
So I will share with you some of our Haíłzaqv energy goals to adapt, also to adapt to climate change by creating and implementing community energy plan as Haíłzaqv people with specific policies and targets, and as well as strategies, because it is an all-inclusive community plan. And also to educate and engage our community within to ensure that our ownership and collective climate action work is being not only shared with our community members, but they can actively participate. And we're gonna create equitable access towards them being able to be engaged with our work. To the clean energy for all Haíłzaqv descended from our homelands and the gifts from our Creator.
Yeah. Also, we're going to increase the human well-being through transformation to a carbon-neutral economy. And we're going to cultivate abundance in the Haíłzaqv homelands for future generations by living in balance and exercising Haíłzaqv sovereignty. So as you can see, a lot of people's community energy plan goals are like, we're going to reduce this and convert that, and it's a different approach. And this is because the way we started with talking about Haíłzaqv values and about incorporating our language, is our word for renewable energy. It means the strength or power that comes from our land. And wahuisa isn't land, it's environment. It's the entire world. And so adapting, educating, equitable access, all of these were priorities given to us by the community. We didn't just make up any of these things. Every single climate solution that we're going to talk about came from a community member in our initial sessions. We went away. First, we broadly asked people, what are you worried about with climate change? What kind of clean energy would you be interested in cultivating in Haíłzaqv homelands? And what are some of your solutions? They came up with all kinds of great ideas. We as a team sat down and looked at what is possible in the next 10 years? What are the priorities of the community? And then we created 17 options, 17 like climate solutions with our partners. We said, this is how much it's gonna cost, this is how much it will increase human well-being, this is the number of jobs. And then we did, through Othello, a consensus budgeting activity. And that's how we ended up with these, our Heltic climate solutions. This is our plan in a slide. So the total greenhouse gas reductions will be over 24,000 tons of greenhouse gases removed from the environment, and the total cost is $19.6 million. We already have 6.6 or 6. Yeah, $6.6 million raised of that. And like, so efficient home heating systems, we're gonna switch 100% of that, and we talked about that yesterday, and how we already have from like 6 or 7 sources all of the money to do that. So by the end of this year, we will not be creating any greenhouse gas emissions or burning any fossil fuels to heat our home. So we're running a pilot project called Renewable Diesel. Well, it's not called Renewable Diesel. So we're filling up, we have these big tanks in our community, like a lot of communities, and we're filling one of them up with biodiesel. And we've convinced fishermen and people who own charter businesses and people who are heavily on the water to try this diesel in their boat 1-to-1, and because it reduces marine toxicity by almost 80% immediately. And so this is basically a half a step, but convincing people to use biodiesel in their very expensive boat engines, which is their livelihood, is a little bit of a step. So we're doing a pilot project with some very willing participants, some champions, and so that's a piece there. And then we're looking at a solar project and also battery storage in order to, I kind of glossed over this, but we have some energy challenges right now around our microgrid and capacity. So we have a lot of power coming out of our water in Ocean Falls, out of lake, but we're actually limited by the transmission lines. So we need to increase the community's capacity to generate energy. So we're looking at solar on big buildings, like energy-heavy buildings. And Aaron will probably talk a little bit more about that. And then retrofitting community homes, $10 million. This was by far the #1 priority of the community. They said, and it is the best way for us to increasing energy efficiency, saving energy, like not burning fossil fuels, is one of our best ways to bring ourselves back into alignment and stop creating greenhouse gases and hurting our environment. And so we're going to do both shallow retrofits and deep retrofits, and like heat pumps are part of that, to every single home in the community. And we have some unique abilities to, we're working with bringing it home, but also we have some reconciliation dollars around housing, and this is absolutely what the community wanted. They said, if you're gonna spend a lot of money on something, make it our homes. And my dad always says, our homes are a window to the world. So if we're living in energy inefficient homes that are, literally like just, that are a colonial legacy, how can we stand and be strong in who we are? So that was a clear priority of the community. And then food sovereignty. We're gonna localize 75% of our food, because right now it comes in on an airplane or on a ferry, and it's like very expensive. It's actually really, so we're doing a hydroponics project, we're doing a vertical farming, and we already have, we've created a survey, because actually it came out of COVID and a mental health crisis we had in our community, and the #1 thing people were saying is, I can't feed my family, and how much stress that was causing them. So a community organization, our own like nonprofit called Çaqv, did a survey and created a report called We Will Not Be Hungry, it's in our language. And so it wasn't a surprise to us when we asked them to rank these projects that food sovereignty was #1. And so all of these things, having the communities prioritize these projects, means that these projects are gonna get done, because this is their plan. This is what they wanna happen. And it also brings us into alignment, lets us take action on climate action. And so this alignment is super important for making sure that this plan isn't another plan that sits on a shelf. How many people have a comprehensive community plan that hasn't been open in 5 years? Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna let Astrid talk about the rest.
So next is our passive house kits. I'm actually going to be a part of this project, and I'm curious to see about like what it's going to be all about, because I was given direction from one of the directors who's leading this that I'm actually going to go and like, I thought I was going to be filming, but turns out I'm going to be putting them together with someone. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting, and I think that's very important that it's going to be put in place, because our homes they're getting old, and there's some homes, like my house is going to be like almost 3 generations old, and it's been renovated, but there's a lot more work that needs to be done within our communities to ensure that there is going to be secure housing in that way, because everyone deserves to have a home, and a secure home that's safe and warm and has proper functioning stuff in their home, in their gook. Next is capacity and development strategy. So I believe that this is a way where it's yeah, it's literally.
Just so you know, Astrid is 19.
Yeah.
And like a powerhouse.
It's oh my God, Isla, it's embarrassing. Here, can you stand? So that's like implementing a way where there's going to be more strategies involved with our plans and our people, so they feel like they're not just on the other side of all of this and watching from the outside lens. They're on the inside, and they're being able to see what work is going done, and they can feel like they are a part of it doing the work as well. Okay, so next one is electrification of marine vessels, and this is a very important one because we are ocean-going people. We literally almost travel everywhere through our oceans, and that is going to be reducing the fossil fuels that are used through marine vessels. And I would also like to apologize if my ťuzaqv, my English language, is not so good, because I am doing some language revitalization, and I'm starting to feel okay with not having good English. Electrification, retrofitting community buildings.
Yeah.
Will I speak on the housing?
No, it's like changing the hall and stuff.
Okay. So retrofitting community buildings, and this is a big one because our community hall has been around, I like to say since time immemorial, but I know it's been since like our grandparents have been around playing basketball, and I do play basketball, so it's going to be important to either rebuild those types of buildings that have been around for lots of generations, and making sure that our youth, our community members have places to go and gather that are new and modern, but also have our Haíłzaqv touch to it. I'm going to close it off to you for the community.
And finally, community transport. So we have I'm on council, and every new vehicle bought by council for in-community use will be electric from now on. We are, within 5 years, like 75% of our fleet for like elders buildings, our school bus, our like maintenance vehicles will be electric. And ICE is providing us a charging station in our community for that. And so as you can see, we talk about transportation on the land and in the community. And so we're also making it a lot easier for our community members. Just to put into context, we have like 6 kilometers of road. You can 100% drive electric, even just in a plug-in hybrid in our community. There's no reason for us to be burning fossil fuels for in-community transport. And so we've recognized that, and we're gonna change it. So as you can see, our climate solutions span across all sectors, look at all different ways of transforming our relationship and our lives to be more in alignment with those Heltic values to take care of future generations. And then, guys, it's not just some nice, pretty slide. We have like a 193-page plan on how we're going to do this. Lots and lots of details. And I'm going to hand it over to ťuzaqv and Aaron to talk about how you guys can work with us.
So as Isla mentioned and Astrid mentioned, there's a lot going on. And this team is more than competent to be able to do it. I have no doubts about that in my mind. But partnerships is really fundamental to that and moving it along quickly and effectively. So as you saw on the last slide, the total cost for all of those projects is about $19 million. Through the Indigenous Off-Diesel Initiative, $1.6 million has already been put towards the plan and the actions. There's also, we've received another $5 million in partnership with EcoTrust to continue to work on projects. So, you know, looking at my math here, we're short about $13.6 million. And I don't mean that in a way, I know that no matter what, we're gonna get there. But partners to make those projects a reality is fundamental. And so I think just looking at your own networks, thinking about those projects, the Haíłzaqv people have been extremely generous with their knowledge here today, and I truly believe in reciprocity. And so really think about those projects and what kind of supports you might be able to offer, and let us know, because we really want to work with you to make those projects happen. And I'm going to turn it over to ť'azaqv.
Erin. So you can find our plan on our website, like the whole 100 and somewhat page document. So if you go to our website and you're interested in being our partner, or if you're a community member or a leader within a community and you want to see a template of what a plan looks like, we welcome you to go to www.Heltic.climateaction.ca or talk to us. Like, now you know who we are. You can come up and meet us and get our contact information. And we're more than willing to share the lessons learned from these past 2 years of really putting our heart. We often term within our team that we're doing heart work. And I can really feel it, like when I'm with this team, we're doing it because it matters to each and every one of us. And so yeah, I just encourage you. And Erin, she's been really amazing from Indigenous Clean Energy. She worked with an Arctic community to do a very similar plan and came with a vast amount of knowledge on how to get this done. And so what we're trying to do is offer that back. So if there's other communities that want to use this as a template, and we also know that within Canada that there's a lot of money that exists, and that we're putting no limits onto our clean energy future as a nation. And I look to each and every one of you. If you know people with deep pockets, we'd love to know them too. And I'm also not joking, because we do believe this is a worthwhile project, and that we're going to continue to grow as a nation, and that this is an example of everything we were talking about yesterday. We were talking about UNDRIP, and we were talking about economic reconciliation. This is an opportunity to invest in economic reconciliation with people who are moving it forward and going to make it happen. So we invite you to come and have conversations with us. And if you have those networks, please introduce us to people that can make things happen, because we know that there's like no limits, and we're putting no limits onto the reality and what we're gonna make our community look like for our future generations. And I also just really wanted to end by thanking the people of this land. This is the farthest north, myself and, well, some of our team up here that have ever been. And so just seeing like the difference, and the difference of realities, and knowing that not only can the Haíłzaqv people do this, but each and every one of you who are here and who want to make this a reality for your community, knowing that as Indigenous people, we don't have to have those glass ceilings on top of us anymore. And that even as women, our team, we have one male, that we're making change and we're making space, and we're willing to take up that space and to be here to be like, we're not asking anymore. We're shifting this reality for the Haíłzaqv people. So ť'azaqv Nation. Thank you for listening to me. We left some time to create time for questions. And we really hope that if you have questions, not only take this time again, but to come and meet us. So if there's any questions, we'll start off from the main room. I think we'll go with this gentleman, and then I'll go over to you.
Hello, my name is Daniel Martineau. I'm with CanMet. I think it was just a great presentation, and it looks really great. Could you tell us a little bit about the timeline, what have been done, and what would you like to do, let's say, in the next year, next 2 years, and how things will unfold? You know?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're part of the Indigenous Off Diesel initiative, and this has been 2 years in the making, creating this plan. And this is a 10-year community energy plan. And we went back and forth between clean energy and community energy, and we landed on community energy because, like we said, this really has the voice of our community. And I'll just pass it over to Isla, this question, to answer what the next few years will look like. Mike 3.
So go and look at the plan for sure, because we have timelines. So every project has a timeline of like when we're going to hit that 50%, when we're going to hit that 100%. And so as you can see, there's 10 solutions there. Each has a different timeline. Each has different components that are going to require different things. But yeah, Leona was a part of the Catalyst program, and that was really the start of this journey. And then also right after the Catalyst program, became the Climate Action Coordinator through CFN, Coastal First Nations, and then built the team. And actually, Leona pulled me into this. She tried to make me be the catalyst after doing the interview. Like I said, no one says no to Leona. And so then she pulled me in, and then I wrote the phase 2 proposal, and she made me write this position for myself, but I made Çaqv do that position. And then obviously we brought in beautiful Astrid just recently. And so building that team out took time, and then we also got hit with the pandemic. And we're like, how do we do community engagement when we can't gather? We can't be close to people. And so really pivoting, finding the right partner. Othello is amazing if you're looking at community engagement. Mm-hmm. And you design the project for yourself, and then they build the platform. And that consensus budgeting tool was really helpful for us, because you can budget both greenhouse gas emissions and money and other factors too. So
I was just going to say, on the Othello too, is using the templates that Haíłzaqv created. We actually made templates with ICE, so you can use those. If you're a community, you can use those for free. You just need to be able to pay for the uploading and kind of the maintenance, but a lot of the work's already been done because of this amazing team.
Yeah, so use those tools, and then from here, so it's about a 2.5-year process to get to this point, to be able to have that feast. And now, over the next 10 years, we're taking a massive leap towards carbon neutral. Our goal is net zero.
Okay, so next we had a question from the gentleman over here.
I think it's appropriate that I begin with Suli, Uvanga, Nauyaluk, Paula Tumi. Thank you very much for your presentation. My name is Siegel, and from Politic. We, like a lot of cultures, have lost our language. I can't speak fluently. I can understand, of course, a lot better than everybody here. But what I want to do is, this is more or less an observation and something that I caught on in terms of combining our cultures, the efforts we make to address some of the things that are wrong, and ongoing. On our end, we call it TK, traditional knowledge, and working with science. Now, at one time it was science, and we're trying to institute TK into their planning and goals and process. And now we're coming to a time when now it's TK and science working together. Actually, in our latest developments, I'll give you an example of our marine protected area. As a part of that working group to negotiate and create management planning and in terms of references, etc. I worked with our group to have a TK and science fitting in the way we wanted to see it. We were successful in negotiating our MPA on the basis of our culture, our tradition, so that any developments and any activity, be it research or whatever, it has to involve our TK. So what I've seen in our area, in our society, is a lack of practicing our and then passing on to our next generations celebrations, and how you, like you show pictures of your gatherings and everybody's participating in full garb and, you know, traditional wear. That's what our kids see. I think a lot of our communities are at a stage where we don't have necessarily a way to showcase ourselves culturally. We have drum dancers who wear certain cultural attire, but it's a celebration that we're missing. And I was just wondering, in your web, aside from the pictures and that, is there a way that you showcase your processes, your planning, culturally, to your people and to the people around you? When people ask us sometimes, because we're really active in terms of trying to protect our coastline, our lands, you know, the environment, as well, keeping our traditions alive with what we do. Like yourselves, we depend heavily on the ocean. You know, I think we think we're getting there, but it's more in a Western scientific setting, and we're trying to bring it more to the cultural setting, you know. But it's the celebrations that, and how to showcase it culturally, that we're not really practicing. And I'm always impressed when I see the different cultures expressing through celebration, you know, openly. And we've got to learn and try to come back. Actually, quickly, our generation, we lost some of not only the language, but celebration process, drum dancing. We lost that. And actually, one of my sons was a part of a group of 4 who started drum dancing. And it took them a couple of years, but maybe within 2 or 3 years, they actually went out to Germany on an expo, and they were drum dancing, and now they're thriving. We have about 30 or 40 drum dancers in our community. So kind of went, boop, we missed it, but it's come alive. So I know in that way we can express ourselves and celebrate, but it's with these new activities, new efforts to protect what's around us, you know, we've kind of lost that ability to express it culturally. So I'm really impressed with how some of you do that and showcase it. Thank you.
Çaqv. That's a really beautiful question. And actually, within the Haíłzaqv Nation, we have joint leadership. So our Haíłzaqv Tribal Council, which Isla is a part of, as well as our Haíūt Council, our hereditary chiefs. And so when we brought forward the completion and to begin the implementation of our community energy plan, we decided as a team that we wanted to feast it, that we really wanted to uplift it, to show that we've all agreed as a community to breathe life into it. And so I'm sure both Isla and Astrid have something to say in regards to this. But the feast, really what I saw within, what I witnessed within the Haíłzaqv community, exactly what you said about your son, is that my aunt once said to me when I felt really bad before I started learning the language, she said, if it wasn't stolen from you, you would be exactly who you were meant to be. And so just not to be hard on yourself, and that everybody's in a different stage of reclaiming who we are and asserting who we are as people. And that I think it really starts off with our young people. Like when I see our young people having that opportunity to just be born into culture, you see a shift, that we're breaking intergenerational cycles of trauma, not only in regards to energy, but in regards to healing and how it's all interconnected. And that's really what we wanted to make our plan about, so that people, they feel safe and that they have the right to clean energy, and Haíłzaqv have the right to energy sovereignty, and so do other Indigenous communities. And one thing is that reconciliation, it's a responsibility of each of us. And I'll just pass it over to any of my other team members that might want to say anything.
I think you got it, but like we said, grounding this work in who we are as Haíłzaqv people was critical to the success and to getting an entire big house of Haíłzaqv people together to celebrate this. And listen, I don't think any other IODI had like thousands of dollars worth of food that they gave away as an expense, but this is our culture. We did it the way that we needed to do it, the way that our elders, the way that our young people, we sang to it, we literally gifted, because potlatching is about gifting, we gifted the plan to the people. And it changed, and the community was so, one, they were involved from the beginning, but once they saw, this is mine, we know that that's going to be critical when we need to move things forward and when things get hard, because it's not going to be easy. There are some pieces in here that we are going to need the communities to be there 100% for us. And so by using our culture, celebrating it like that, it's going to allow us to come together in unity when we need to.
So if we could move the questions to the multipurpose room, and then we'll come back to your question. Thank you. If there's any questions from the multipurpose room.
Any questions for this group? I don't think we have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We do have a question here in the main room.
Thank you. Just an amazing presentation, an amazing project, an amazing plan. It's just incredible. You folks all deserve a huge congratulations for that. Rob McIntosh, ex of Pembina. We work with a little firm, Green Planet Energy Analytics, that supports the Athabasca Chippewa First Nation and the Mikisew Cree up in Fort Chip in their community energy plans. And I think our leadership and folks there that we support will agree we can learn lots from what you've done here. May have a couple of things to share, and that would be fun. We have a particular passion in the other project up there is Three Nations Energy, which did the solar farm. So we've been really working to see how we can more formally engage the school system. And the question for you is, how did you make use of the formal education school system, acknowledging that's less than half the education that goes on, but it is there. How did you use that in the creation of the plan, and how did you involve teachers and learners at school in the development of your community energy plan? And then I think equally importantly, how does that fit into your plan? So going forward, how do you see incorporating learning around both your cultural and historical and language approach to clean energy, but also some of the technical aspects of clean energy to lead towards the best possible training and ensuring you're building that capacity, but also that full understanding integrated with your education programs. So I'd love to hear what you did and what you're thinking about doing.
Yeah, so youth engagement was super important to us from the very beginning. And you know, for the past couple of years, we've gone into the school, and the principal and the school is great. They just turn over all the kids to us, and we just have assemblies, and we do energy activities, and we actually, you know, had the young people vote on what kind of energy they want to develop in Haíłzaqv homelands, and then we had them, like the high school students create an energy plan for their school, and the school uses a boiler, and so they made these amazing, like, 3 things that we're gonna do, and they had different groups, and now the school board is converting to heat pumps in the school. And so, like, youth empowerment is always, like, such a strategy. Like, we want our young people not only to have a say, but to have an impact. And so, you know, this year, Astrid, who's the only one who's in the community, went to the school and did activities with them and did a cleanup. And so we really are trying to engage with our young people, because we need people who are coming up who want to be involved in these projects. We want to snag them before, you know, health does or something. All just as important. But so yeah, we have been really active in engaging young people, not only within our school, but also within our youth center and those programs. Oh, and our daycare, like literally, like from like 2, 3 years old, we're talking to them about this, and we're working with them, so.
Also, I would like to say I work closely with the youth in our community. I've been a youth worker since I've been a youth. I'm still a youth. I started working with them in grade 8, and I would like to put a call out to any other nations or organizations that would like to work with us. And in the future, maybe we can get an exchange going with youth in your community, and we can see the differences within our nations. That's one of my dreams for sure, to get some youth involved and just uplift them. This is going to be their earth once we leave, and I believe that they deserve to see what else is out there in different communities.
I also just wanted to say that we actually, at Indigenous Clean Energy, have these energy education boxes that have activities K to 12. They're absolutely free to use. You just need to pay for the shipping to get it there and get it back to us, and it tells you exactly how to run them. And we're going to be doing a video series with Green Learning Canada, and Haíłzaqv is taking part in that as well, where we're going to have videos that teach people how to run them. So teachers can do it, community champions can do it, youth groups can do it for themselves. So yeah, please, I'm happy to talk about that afterwards.
So we have room for one more question. We'll take a question right here. It's now, we just are down to 1:50.
Okay, thank you. My name is Kevin Brown, Old Masset, Haíłzaqv. I am so impressed with what you guys are doing. As a climate action coordinator, I am doing a lot of the same things you guys are doing. We got funding for a greenhouse, district heating system, heat pump installation, and it's virtually me. So I'm jelly that there's like 4 of you, and there's 3 more that aren't here. So I'm definitely looking forward to the templates and the sharing. My vision is to build a green economy for Old Masset and Haíłzaqv. My question is exactly how do you engage the youth? Because I'm 60, I need to train others and to pick up the baton and bring us forward and catch up to you guys. Hoa.
40 seconds left. I'll just answer that really quickly. I think getting youth involved is a strong key to our communities when there's been so much struggle in our communities. And I would say get them hyped up, get them involved, inspire them. Youth need to be inspired to get involved in this type of work. There was youth complaining about picking up garbage on Earth Day, and I was like, but it's your Earth, it's yours. I'm like, we need to protect it. And then the little guy goes, yeah, it kind of is mine. So he got happy after a while, and I think that's the biggest key to getting them involved. You need to inspire them and make them feel like you're also interested in what you're bringing forward to them.
Connection is super important for young people. You need to connect with them, find a way in. Also, there's some amazing stuff, like use spoken word, use stuff that they're into. Like that is how we connect with young people. So, and also, yeah, hype them up. Like be excited and they'll get excited, yeah.
Another thing too is we actually have a wage subsidy through Generation Power. So it's for Indigenous youth internships. So we can offer up to $32,000 in wage subsidy for you to hire an Indigenous youth in your community. And then further to that, there's another program called Imagination. And if it's an Indigenous youth ages 18 to 30 running the project, we can offer somewhere between $10,000 to $25,000 and the mentorship to support them to do a project. So have them do a greenhouse, get the youth group involved. So Kevin, happy to talk about that.
And we have Richard.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
over
very much.
time.
I don't have much to say or ask me any questions. I just want to do a couple, make a presentation. You know, we came here, I have a group here of 6 from Fort McPherson. I have my colleagues from the Northwest Territories and Nunavut in here. And I know we have a lot of Indigenous people that are in this room. I just so happened to have a presentation I wanted to actually make to Aaron. One is an earring of a feather. And in our tradition, eagle feathers are very important for integrity and honesty and truth. The other thing is I was bringing her is a beaded dress to give recognition to missing women and murdered girls in the country. Well, I happen to have 4 of them. So based on the presentation this morning, I want to give the feathers, of course, to Aaron and the dress, but I want to give each one of you a beaded dress so that when you get to a point of celebrating and recognizing missing murdered Indigenous women and girls, that you might wear them. So if you don't mind, on behalf of my team in the Northwest Territories, I'd like to gift this to you.
Quick land acknowledgement. We had to get started right away, and I just would like to acknowledge that we are, and I'm sorry if I butcher this isn't my language, but it's important for us to be doing this. So we are on the unceded land of the Kwalindun and the Unquachikin to Unquachin territory. I tried my best. ÇiqaSiqa.